All right. It's going to be a little bit different podcast. Today I'm interviewing myself. I like to hear myself speak, so she shouldn't be too terrible, I guess. I'm going to try and do hunt recaps of all my hunts this year. And I just got back from Colorado, spent 10 days over there, 8 days hunting. So we'll get into that, not killing. So it was a good time over the counter tag. I haven't been doing a ton of pods lately. I've just been in like hunting mode. I think I've got like 18 days in the field now since like the end of August. Went to Hawaii, had the elk hunt, and just been hunting locally here in San Diego for deer, and then going to the range. I've been to the range like 6 times this week, in the last like 8 days, something like that. Just field testing our new bipod, some of the new tripod heads, been in some PRS matches, just trying to just field test. Haven't had a lot of time to do pods, so I leave for Wyoming in the morning. Again, coolest job in the world. Flying to Wyoming tomorrow to go hunt antelope. I need an easy hunt, and that one should be like dove hunting. I'm thinking we're going to see like $200 a day in this unit. There's like 8 points on it, so easy hunt. Taking my 11-year-old, that'll be a good one. I'll recap that one next, I guess. But yeah, man, archery elk, Colorado, over the counter last year to do it. Literally drove over there and went to Walmart and bought my tag over the counter. I had a license. I was going to. I had high expectations to draw a tag. I had 8 points in Colorado. Put in for a premium unit, what I would call a premium unit, a good hunt, and I got point crept. So I guess 32 out of the 34 people we put in with 8 points got point crept. Is 100% draw odds on go hunt, and the point creep is real. I'm hoping that with them getting rid of over the counter, it'll solve that. I don't know that it will, because over the counter kind of is going away, but it kind of isn't. Colorado is very similar to California, to where your second choice doesn't count towards your points. So what you're going to do next year is apply for the tag you want, and then if you don't get that, you'll get your second choice. You'll retain your points, and you'll get that tag. So I would say put in for the unit that you want to hunt over the counter normally, but that's your second choice. Put a bomber unit for your first one, and then I'm not sure on the random if they have randoms over there. No, California we have randoms, so you could get lucky and draw a tag on the first one, or you just get stuck with your second point. It does kind of make it to where you can't. I mean, I guess you could turn the tag back, but Colorado is kind of like your fallback state, right? Like if you don't draw in other states, you'll go to Colorado. So it is kind of eliminate that, but hopefully people put in for their first choice and blow points on some over the counter units. I can get rid of some of that point creep over there. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, man, my first archery elk hunt, I got close. I got real close, and I didn't do it. I'm kind of at a point now in my hunting career where this is me like bragging, where I'm going to find animals. Like I know, like I've been on like 8 elk kills now. Like I know that if I go to a place, I'm gonna find elk. If there's elk in the area, I'm gonna find them. Same thing with deer. I mean, anything I hunt now, I'm kind of like I know I'm going to find them. It's a matter of getting them killed. And this hunt was no different. I mean, we were on bulls or elk. I mean, not bulls every day, but we were on elk every single day. Just the rut wasn't happening, man. And when we were there, we went the first. We decided to go the first like 10 days of the month because I'm going to Wyoming tomorrow, like I said, and today's the 22nd, so I'm actually a week and a half late on this pod. I just had to do it. Um, so I wanted to go the first like 10 days, be the first guys in there before muzzleloaders come in, and it just didn't work out. I probably should have just waited. If I could go back again, if I could get all over again, I think I could get it done if I went back on like the 10th and hunt like the 10th to the 20th. Because I think I've been running. Like when we were down there, they were not running. We had a little bit of bugles and stuff. There were some like raghorns trying to mount up, trying to get down on some cows, but all the big bulls were solo, hiding in. It was almost like a late season hunt, trying to find them in like dark timber in the bottom of canyons, and almost like a spot and stalk mule deer hunt, like trying to find them and get on them, which I love. Right, like my style of hunting is glassing. Right, I glass 8-10 hours a day, so this is perfect for that. Get elevation, find them, try and get it done. But I guess I'm gonna try and break it down. I'm doing this new thing. If you're watching, these orange waterproof notebooks. I'm doing a thing where I'm taking notes every day of my season, trying to keep track. I think I'm going to get to like 80 days this year in the field. between now and January. Um, maybe more, maybe less, something around there. So I just want to keep notes and kind of remember how everything went and just look back on them. And then for these pods, it's going to make it really nice to be able to recap with this. So yeah, man, let's break it down. First day, got over to Colorado. We were our whole plan was to kind of like we brought no like base camp stuff. We brought canvas cutters for everything, so we could be really mobile. So if we weren't finding out, we could move to the next spot. And then we brought backpacking gear, right? So first day we went in. We had a spot we wanted to go to, but I want to check another area out first. Total death road. My truck. If you haven't seen my truck, it's I'm gonna cry when it finally goes out. It's an '07 F-150 that has just been driven to hell and back 15 times. I mean, the bumpers are ripped off. It's just it looks like the car from freaking Animal House. You know what I mean? It's like the Deathmobile. It's so much dead stuff in the bed of that thing on the tailgate. And it's a cool truck. So we just beat the snot out of it. And so drove it down this road that I shouldn't have went down. Got in there, slept on some really good, like a really good vantage point. Got up and just glassed for like 3 hours. Did not see a single elk down there. It was hot. So that's one thing I should put out there too right now is like this hunt was hot, like in the 80s most days, especially in this unit, because we were in a lower unit here. I'll end up switching units here in a minute. I'll talk about that. But so it was hot. Did not see any elk. Had to drive out of that spot, and we decided like, well, we don't want to go back the way we came. We'll just keep going forward, which is a really bad idea. Like it was a bad idea. So we go down this trail, and it was like it might have been a side by side trail, probably more of a quad trail. We got my truck down it. Definitely like had like tires off the ground, like total rock crawling, gnarly. We got footage of it. It's pretty good. Get to the bottom of this thing, and then we just kind of like road hunted, like kind of check out some more canyons, just looking for elk. Lots of sign, but the signs all like you can tell it's all like migration stuff. Like it's old, like 3 4 months old, like nothing fresh. Like there's just definitely not elk in this area. Like you want to be seeing a lot of sign to know there's elk there. I mean, if you're seeing like some old poop, like don't don't bank it on it. You want to find a lot of fresh stuff, then you know you can find the elk. Um, Dude, so I have it written down here too. We were just driving down this road, like a regular dirt road, like gates and everything, and all of a sudden, and we're going like 30. All of a sudden, my truck starts slowing down and stops. We were in like there was like 18 inches of mud on this road. Like I don't know what happened. I've never had this happen with a road before, but my truck is buried like to the axles, buried in mud on the middle of this road, and we destroyed it. I felt bad because like there's people. I mean, obviously people know what's going down because we're only tracks on this thing, but we destroyed this road. So my truck's in there. Luckily, I always have a shovel and a jack and all this stuff. So we did the whole nine. And I was smart enough now that I'm getting older to stop. So I stopped like right there. I didn't keep trying to go forward, and we were able to reverse it out. But I still had another like 100 yards to go, and it just got thicker. So like the only solution, obviously, is to just hit it at like 60, and we got footage of this. And I hit that thing at like 60. By the time we got through, it was going like 10. Like it almost got me still, and there's just mud all over the truck. I mean, it was good, dude. Like my camera guy was up like I don't know 40 yards above me, and he got hit with mud. Like it was thick. It was a good. It wasn't even a puddle. It was just like a road. And you look back at the road, and it's like 18-inch ruts, and I felt pretty bad for those guys if anyone's going down there, any ranchers or anything. But we had no option. We weren't going back the way we came because it was we weren't going to make it back up. Um, so we moved from there. Moved up to the original spot that I had pinned. I did a ton of e-scouting on this thing. I did Mark Livesay's, he has a class on this. Like I did a bunch of stuff with that, and just like I know at this point, I kind of know like where elk are going to be. We were hunting border private, and we move up, and it wasn't that far. It was like another 15 miles up the road to this spot. Get in there, set the canvas cutters up, shoot the bows, make sure we're sighted in, everything's good. And the next day is opening day. So our plan is for opening day is where I want to get to. I thought we were going to be able to drive back there. You can't because there's private, and the rancher made it very clear when he came up to us and said, "Do not drive down my driveway." I drove up to his gate, so he made a point to come over and talk to us. And he was pretty cool. I talked to him. Randomly, the guy went to the same high school I did in San Diego. He lives in Colorado, so that kind of like broke the ice a little bit. Like, hey, we're not going to poach. Like the last thing I need to do as the owner of a hunting company is get caught poaching or doing something stupid because I'll just get roasted on rock slide and every other freaking form out there. Like I'm over cautious on not, if I'm fishing an animal being 400 yards from the border. Like I don't want to be anywhere near that situation. So I made sure to make it really clear with them and just talk to them. And so it was cool. So the plan was we're going to backpack in like 3 to 5 miles and set up base camp and then hunt in the morning. So we were going to hunt in the morning. Um, like every other thing you look at, it was way cheaper than we thought. It took us. We didn't even get in there until like probably 7:30. I think we left at like 4:30, and it took us like almost 3 hours to make it 4 miles because it was just all uphill into this spot. But we got back there, and a lot of guys had the same idea we did. Wasn't surprising. A lot of guys want to hunt the sides of this ranch. This is a ranch that's known for killing elk, right? So that's why I'm hunting it. You're like, there's elk there. Hiked in there, um, and just we're seeing sign, but we weren't seeing any elk on the public, right? And then there's like 6 other dudes in here, guys blowing bugles, and then we start finding elk, but all the elk we're finding are on private or on this piece of landlocked public that's not really landlocked, but you got to kind of like rappel down to them. And I think we could have did it. We're gonna get into that in a minute, but we weren't seeing elk, right? So we decided we're gonna stay there and hunt like one more day and see if we could find them, but it wasn't looking good. Like, and one thing I've learned with hunting is like, don't waste your time in an area if it's not looking good. Like, you only have so many days, and like sometimes making a move is the best call. So we got up the next morning. This is 9/3. This is day 2 of our hunt, and only that we're seeing are on that landlocked private, or landlocked public. And I'm like, well, let's backpack out of here. 4 miles. And use it because midday for elk hunting is really tough. Like especially when it's 80 degrees out, like you're really not going to see elk moving. They're going to be dark timber, unless you saw them go to bed. Like you're going to have a hard time finding them. So it's like if you're going to make a move, like do it, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we make a move. We hike out. We pack everything. Cool thing about canvas cutters, you just roll those canvas cutters up, throw them in the truck. I mean, you're packed up within minutes, right? Throw a net on it and go. Go around the other side where those elk are, and we look at it, and it almost looks like the worst triple black diamond you've ever seen to get down to these elk. Like it's like there's power lines going down. Like you could see where the public is to get down to them. You could do it, but it's so steep that you can't see the top of the next power line going down. And I didn't. I don't know. I've gotten older. I've gotten wiser. It's 80 degrees. I don't want to go down there. And this public we're going to hunt down there, the bottom is 900 yards across. So now you have to make sure you kill that bull and he stays on that public because, again, this ranch is a ranch that actually has signs that says you cannot retrieve your elk because these guys are selling tags. And there's some good bulls down there, and the bulls were bugling on that ranch, like, which is kind of cool because they're not getting chased. Um, we probably could have got it done. Man, like trying to get him out of there would have been really tough. It would have been a bear of a hike. It would have been hot. Probably would have lost meat and potentially would have lost the whole bull. So it was just said, you know what? Let's not do it. We moved over to a burn that was up there, glassed the burn, didn't see a single elk, saw a ton of deer. So much to the point that I looked it up on Go Hunt how much it took. It takes like 5 points to draw an archery tag back there, so it's a good unit. So potentially I'll go hunt it at some point. I have 8 points over there, so maybe I can get a rifle tag. I'm not sure what the rifle tag takes. I got to look at that, but I looked at the archery because the archery looked really fun. This big burns, it's wide open, and there's this deer. I mean, I could have killed 4 bucks on this hunt that were 4x4 bucks, and bucks that most people would have shot. I had one at 30 yards for 5 minutes. There was a lot of deer. So I shouldn't say I could have killed because I'd have to like finish the kill to kill it, but there was a lot of deer. I'm sure if I was focused on deer that unit, I could have got a lot of opportunities and let some arrows go at least. A lot more elk, a lot more deer than elk, that's for sure. Um, so we met some locals, and they gave us a tip on another spot bordering that same private. Like everyone's hunting along this private. This private is, I don't know how many thousands of acres it is, like 60,000 acres, and it's kind of like pieced out everywhere. So everyone's you're always trying to get next to this private in this area. They gave us this area, and they're like, hey, go check the spot out. We call it switchbacks, right? Meaning that you can't get up this hill unless you use a switchback. It's that steep. So we drove back, threw the canvas cutters out. It's like 10 miles down the road. Threw the canvas cutters out, slept. Got up the next morning, hiked into the spot called Switchbacks, and there was a ton of sign, but it was so thick that you just weren't going to kill an elk unless it came out in front of you. And you had like where only part it wasn't thick, like always, was the public. We probably could have stayed there and got, maybe had some opportunities, but it was just like it was a very difficult place to hunt. I'm not a big fan of areas where you were kind of reliant on the elk to come to you versus finding them, right? And they weren't bugling so much. Like it wasn't like you hear like a couple bugles in the morning, a couple bugles at night. It wasn't like middle of the day going crazy. This is the 3rd of September. It wasn't a high probability area, and I'm like, I only have 8 hunting days, 10 days out here. This isn't working. Let's make a move to another unit that I wanted to hunt. So I think I missed a day. No, I didn't. Oh, there we go. No. Went to Switchbacks, and I said, let's make a move to this other unit. The other unit was like, I think it was 300 miles away. I think it was like 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours to get there. But wanted to do it. I got some dope from someone about an area up there, which we didn't even hunt that area. We're going to get into that in a minute. And so we make the drive all the way up there to this other unit, like 6 hours. Again, make a switch. I've killed animals by making a switch like this. Even though most of I never left a unit to kill an animal. I've left, made a couple hour drives within units to kill animals because you got to go where they are. We make a switch. We go up to the spot. We get up there. I end up going. I always try and go to like the random like local spots, right? Like local dive bars, etc., to kind of like kick around. And we get in there, and we this burger joint. Grab some water from the grocery store and some more snacks. Go to this burger joint, and the guy's like kind of picking on me for wearing First Light. And then he kind of recognizes, oh, you're Drew from Tricer, blah, blah, blah. So we get chatting. And he's like, dude, I used to be a guide. Go check out this area up here. Another burn, right? And he's like, we always kill elk in here. So I was like, sweet. Got the dope from this guy. It was a one-way in. It was like a I don't know. It probably took us an hour on dirt roads to get to the spot. Like the other side was closed off, which was kind of cool because a lot of guys weren't able to go to where we were because they're coming the wrong way and it was closed. So we were able to drive in from this one side of the town to get in there. So we get in there. Again, just throw the bedrolls out, canvas cutters out. Up until this point, Cade, my filmer, and Joey loved the canvas cutters. I got 2 more for them for this hunt to bring along for all my hunts for my filmers and for my kids or whatever. They're just such nice hunt tends to have. Well, I had my 16-year-old put their canvas cutters together, and he put them together upside down. So it rained really hard that night, and the water went into the seam where the zipper is and got them both wet. Cade got out of his canvas cutter, got in his truck. Joey laid in his all night in the rain. At one point, I thought Joey was fighting the rain, the bad words he was saying in the middle of the night when he was up screaming. Joey's listening to this, I'm sure. It was, it's one of those things that's probably really funny right now, but in the moment, Joey did not think it was funny. Joey was definitely ready to be done hunting. He was wet and cold and screaming and pissed off. And then I had like the best night's sleep ever on this hunt on that night because like it was like up until then I was only getting like 6 hours. I ended up sleeping like 8, so I was just feeling great the next morning. But Joey was not happy. I should have mentioned that. Like I'm hunting with my buddy Joey, and then Cade Maddock from Matt Hunts is filming for me. So we get up in the morning, and they're a little bent out of shape. I'm just me, who's like pretty much always go go go, kind of happy. I'm kind of happy go lucky. If you ever hunt with me, I'm very positive. Like, hey, yeah, let's do it. Like I'm always like I'm very positive guy when we hunt. Like it's just that's who I am as a person, and I'm always want to go go go. Like you can always kill on the last days, you kill on the first day, and I keep that mentality throughout the whole hunt. They were not feeling that way. They were not chipper. They did not get out of the truck. Staying in the truck to sleep, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna pack in like 2 miles or something. I ended up only going a mile, and I'm gonna glass and see what I can see where this guy told us to go because we have a big advantage where we are with the drop into this canyon where these elk would be if they're in there. So I hike in, and within like 10 minutes, and of glassing on the spot, I'm like, oh, there's 40 elk. Oh, there's 20 elk. Oh, there's another herd of elk, and they're far. I mean, as the crow flies, they're like 4 miles away. So this year, talking like an 8 mile hike in. But I'm like, if there's elk over there, there's going to be elk down the bottom of this canyon. I hike out. My truck is still running. This is 3 hours later. My truck is still running. They're both passed out of my truck. It was, again, rough night for those two. And I just tell them, like, hey, I know last night sucked, but we're going to get everyone put 3 days of food in their backpacks. We're going to pack in, and we're going to go kill some elk because there are elk down here. We will get on elk in this canyon below us. We will, love opportunities. I don't like to look at like watching elk on private. I hate this area we were hunting, all public and loaded with elk. It was a good spot. Like I definitely would go back to the spot. I'll definitely my choice number 2 for next year will be this unit for my over the counter tag. We're pretty light. For this part of the hunt, like the first part of the hunt, we were sleeping in my Kafara super tarp, and then Joey's sleeping on another tarp that I had. For this part of the hunt, I was like, you know what? Let's just bring down my. I had that Seek Outside Twilight tent. I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast. It's pretty rad. It's a 2-person hot tent, but like you definitely can do 3 dudes in there with a ton of room. We actually slept like a U shape, and then like the whole middle is wide open for all your gear. It's a rad tent. It's almost like it's a wall tent style to it. It's a teepee, but like a wall tent. Like the sides are like 18 to 2 foot tall, so you can go right up against the sides. You leave the front open. There's a big vestibule in the front, and you can leave it open. And you don't get all that condensation in there, which I love because like in a teepee, it's taped. The zipper goes up to the top, right to the peak. And if you leave it open, like you can get rain in there and stuff. And with this, you can just leave the front open because it has like almost like another vestibule in the front, like against kind of like more of a wall tent style, and you don't get all that condensation. So it's really nice. So we hike down, and when we get to the bottom of this hill, going into this basin or going into this area we're gonna hunt, we find this wallow. They called it Joey's wallow because Joey did spot it. We get to the bottom, and everyone would have. This is a wall that everyone would have seen when we get to the bottom because this is a wall that was like I don't even know 100 foot long or 40 foot wide, and just like smells like piss. Like if you smell piss, like you're on elk. Like there's a sign everywhere. There's this hoof marks everywhere, and I'm like Joey, we're gonna build you a blind. You're gonna sit this blind, stay here till dark. You're going to get a chance at an elk in the next couple of days. Like you're going to kill an elk here, or at least get a chance at one. Very confident by looking at it. Definitely not my favorite style of hunting, but Joey's like a big tree stand guy, and he definitely can do it. So we actually built him a blind, like a really bitchin' blind, like 40 yards off to the center. I think to the center of the wall was 40 yards. 40 yards off from the center to that, we built this blind between some trees and just built it up like 3 foot tall, bushed in all the way around. I mean, he basically had a log cabin up there to sit in for these elk. Set him up in there to stay for the night. We, being Kate, hike down another 1.5 miles, set up camp next to this creek, make water. I'm a big MSR gravity filter guy now. I used to use like the MSR pumps. I hate them. They're just like a pain in the butt. I got this gravity filters, a 10-liter bag, and I run the Dramolite bag. So I have like two 6 liters and a 4-liter Dramolite bag. So I'll just make water as soon as I get somewhere, fill up whatever that 16 liters of water, and then go hunting. Right, then I'm good to go for a couple of days. With 3 guys, we kind of went through. We ended up going through that twice in 3 days. Joey's a camel. Joey drinks a lot of water. He says he doesn't, but the guy's freaking him. I don't even know where he puts it. I don't know how he's not constantly pissing. So we do that. Me and Cade hike up. Again, this spot turns out to be pretty popular, like everything. Hike up to this ridge, one glass from, and there's another dude sitting up there. He's actually sitting like a quarter mile to our, I guess that'll be our west. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just move over to the other spot, look for elk, go through a sunrise, and we find a good 6x6 bull and like 4 cows in this basin. I think it's like 1,000 yards from where we're sitting, but it's like 1,000 yards involving like a death hike. Like it's going to take you 3 hours to get there. It's everything in where was like that. So we just make a plan. Like let's go back to camp. Go back to camp. Meet Joey. Joey didn't have me all come in. Tomorrow we're going to hike up over this mountain that surrounds that basin and get above it, and then kind of work that basin and then try and kill this bull who's in this basin. I don't know if you call it a basin or a bench. It's more like a bench, like a bull type thing, big giant bench on top of this hill. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want to call it. So that's the plan. Joey's gonna sit the blind. We're gonna do that hike. Got to the basin, terrible wind. Like winds swirl. We could not my goal was to get up along this basin and be able to look into it, right? 'Cause you're archery hunting, but we could not get to the edge of this basin because there's freaking like the wind swirling. And at one point, I looked down, and right below me, there's a cow running towards me, like 100 yards below me, out of this basin. I'm like, great, they're blown out. I couldn't figure it out. Like later, I find out, like this dude who we ended up meeting was camping. He ended up coming in during the night and camping like right below where we were. So he just blew it. Those elk were gone. Like I didn't know this at this point. I don't know the elk were gone. The elk, this guy camped like right on my elk, and just blew him out of there. But whatever, it's over the counter. Get used to it. Uh, Glass of elk all around Joey. This raghorn bull, which we'll get to know this raghorn bull tonight. You'll hear about him. And then Joey ended up bumping a 6x6 bull because he went for a walk and bumped a 6x6 bull down below him. Ended up kind of working that whole around that whole basin, which was kind of fun. And just sitting down in glasses. You work 200 yards and stand in glass. And we glassed all day long until our eyes are blood, right? Like middle of the day glassing, a couple little naps here and there, but there was this like cricket infestation. I don't know what the deal was with crickets in Colorado. I had the same thing happen in Idaho. These crickets bit, like they ate everything. Like the crickets were trying to eat like my trekking poles, or eating everything. And which, by the way, I have cork trekking poles, and I'd freaking like groundhogs eat two of them. Sucked, but side note, like they ruined two pairs of trekking poles for us. But whatever. I'm hoping I can get some new black diamond trekking pole handles. Uh, Kind of worked our way around. At one point, I glossed up a herd of like no joke, at least 100 elk, and they're on public. But there's a reason why they're by outfitter camps because like to get to these things, it's like 4 miles of the crow flies, and it probably would take us, I don't even know, 6 hours to get to these elk, and to get them out is just it's gonna kill us. Like you're just not gonna. I don't have it in me to carry a bull that far anymore. I've done an 8 mile pack out on a bull. It's not fun. Um, if I had pack animals or more people, maybe I'd want to be more interested in doing it. But like, it would have been a commitment to get over to where these elk were to kill these bulls, and there was no easy way out. Like it was just even where we were like 4 miles from the truck, and it was all uphill. It would have been bad. So we see them like, oh, there's a good there's a good herd of elk. Obviously, there's elk in here. Saw elk all day. Didn't get it done on it. So kept circling that thing. We get to basically at 5:30 at night. We're glassing back towards where we were sitting the night before, and Cade's like, "I got an elk," and then I'm like, "Really? See?" And then he's got a big 6x6 bull in the bottom of this canyon that's like super steep. There's like a creek running down it, and it's the crow flies a thousand yards, but it's a mile to get to him. It's 5:30. We're like, we gotta get on this bull. We gotta go. Um, so we make like what I consider probably the best dock I've ever made. Perfect wind, wrap around. We have to drop down 900 feet, come back up 950 feet. When we get to the bottom of this canyon, where this like next to where this elk, it run that fingers into where the elk is. I'm trying to explain this right. You can almost touch both sides of it. How steep it is. I mean, it's probably one of the steepest I've ever been in. Where you go down and up that. So you go up it, and now I'm at a point like we've pinned this out. We know exactly where we're going. We're going to go right above the bright green bushes. That's where we're going to stop because the elk's down below him. We get up there. I drop my pack. I sit down, and it's like almost like a little finger. I don't know how to describe it. So like it's like almost like a rolling finger to get over into the next canyon where this bull is. But once I crest this finger, the bull's going to be 60 yards below me, right? Like I'm going to be able to kill this bull. He's not going to smell me. I'm sitting there. I said, look, we're filming everything. So I'm like, look, man, like, let's just take like 5-10 minutes, sit down, get our heart rates right. Like, we have time. We got there way in record time. Like, we were flying. We still had like probably an hour of light left. This point is probably 6:30. It's getting a little darker, like 7:30 when we were up there. And I'm like, let's just sit down, take a minute. The wind, I'm like, it's on video. You'll see the video. We're going to, I'll tell you the name of it. I blow my wind checker. It's like perfectly blowing to the east. This bull's to the west. Like we're gonna crest this thing. We're gonna kill this bull. It's gonna be all over. First archery elk. So I get up. We're filming. I walk over the top. Bull's right there in the canyon. Grab my bow, and the freaking wind hits my back, and this right onto this bull. And I watch the bull get up, and of course he gets up out of this ditch. He's like laying in the ditch, like where the water is. Like it's super cool down there. It's a pro tip right there for finding any kind of animals, especially elk, is like those fingers, the northeast facing fingers by water are so much cooler. Go sit in one sometime, like pump your water, you'd be like, wow, it's 20 degrees cooler. Well, if you're wearing a fur suit, like that's where you're gonna be. Like whenever I find elk, they're in those hellholes, unless it's peak rut, which we weren't in. So we wind swirls, bull gets up 70 yards behind the bush, 80 yards, 90 yards. Like I'm not gonna shoot that far. Basically, this bull kind of zigzags in front of us all the way up and over, like 300 yards above us, and then just goes over the hill. And I watched this. At this point, was the best bull of the trip. Ended up being the second best bull. We'll talk about that in a minute. But second best bull of the trip. And he's gone out of my life. We have to hike out of this thing. It is so steep to the top. We're still another, I don't even know, 800 feet to the top of this thing. It was gnarly. So we hike all the way up to the top and get up there, and we still have some light. Surprisingly, I'm like, well, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, we're gonna glass. Like we're gonna glass. It's still have light. We still can kill a bull. Like again, I hunt from dark to dark. Like you have to hunt dark to dark, and especially with elk, dude. Like that last like 20 minutes is magical. That's when they're moving. That's what I told Joey. Like in this blind, like you need to be in this blind until dark because that's when they're gonna come out. So I sit down and like instantly, kids like got elk. I mean, like within like 10 seconds, got elk, and these elk are feeding towards Joey's. What do we call it? Joey's wallow. Joey's wallow. And I'm on film and I'm like, dude, if Joey moves out of that blind before dark, I'm going to kick his butt. Like, you need to stay. So I'm texting Joey in reach, like, Joey, stay in the blind. Don't move. They're coming in, dude. Like, if they're going to come in, they're either going to hold up in the timber or they're going to come in. Like, just stay there, please. And it's that raghorn bull and the cows. Like, it's just, this bull's now become known, right? We've seen him a couple of times. And so we get a text back from Joey, like, okay. And then I get a text back, they're here. And he watches these things come in from 200 yards in front of him. Now, this is not me knocking Joey. Like, please understand, this is just trying to tell you what happened on this hunt. And Joey has him in front of him and melts down. The raghorn is mounting the cows, and he has buck fever like no other. He's shaking like crazy. For some reason, he thinks he has no time to range, even though they've watched him come in. Like, if he can have it back, he'd have a dead elk, 100%. This Joey is like, I can't emphasize enough, such a better shot than me at 3D archery. So when it comes to target shooting, Joey is phenomenal. When it comes to animals, it turns out he has really bad buck fever, like really bad. And they come in, he doesn't range, takes a shot, thinks he shot it. The elk run, takes another shot, thinks it was good. And he texts me and he's like, I don't know. I think I shot it. He ranged for 43 yards. Or at least we thought there were 43 yards. That's what he thought. He thought he did not range. He thought 43. So I'm gonna come look for blood. I have to hike over there from where we are. It's about 2 miles. We hike over there, meet him. He's all shaken up. He ends up coming back because his phone's dying. Like he comes back, meets us on the trail. We go back over there. Where he shot, it's such thick mud, and the grass is like 3 foot tall. So like finding an arrow is going to be impossible. Like they're going to go into it. It's going to be really hard to find an arrow. So we spent the better part of an hour trying to find his arrow right there because it's open meadow. Like there's no elk there. Obviously, he saw the bull go into these bushes. He saw where he went and where the cows went, but not a drop of blood. So I'm already a little bit like, I don't know, but you said you hit him, and who knows? You could have hit him, and the arrow didn't exit, and maybe got him in the shoulder. I don't know. Like it's happened. It can happen. Like you can shoot an elk and not have any blood. It's archery, right? They're thick animals. He's kind of showing us where the bull was standing. It's 40 yards. Okay, we don't range anything. We don't think anything of it. Nothing. So I said, you know what, dude? Like, there's no reason to go into those bushes right now. Like, if it was a bad shot, if it was a gut shot, we don't want to bump. The last thing we want to do is bump this elk. But he's like adamantly like he thinks he killed this elk at this point now. He's convinced himself that he thinks he shot this elk, even though there's no blood. But we can't find the arrow, so the arrow could be in the elk, right? So we go back to camp. I was like, "Let's not put. Let's go back to camp. Let's sleep it off." Of course, he had a great night's sleep, right? With that, we woke up a little bit later, hiked over there in the daylight, all three of us, and we're looking for blood. And there is not a drop of blood anywhere. Anywhere. Um, where they ran into, it's a burn, keep in mind. So there's not like a lot of places these things can go. Like it's like we spent four to 5 hours, just all three of us, just gritting this place out. Not a drop of blood, not like a bed where he laid down. Um, he missed the elk. So we go back, looking for this arrow again. I range it. It's 28 yards. What I range. Um, so I have him stand there, 28 yards, and then now Joey's doing that thing where it's like, well, no, maybe he was here. He was here. He was here. Um, Long story short, I think what happened, and I don't want to put words into his mouth, is the bull could have been anywhere from 20 to 28 yards, and just buck fever, man. It took over, and he did not range, and he missed this bull. Not a drop of blood. Um, so yeah, he misses the bull. We end up at that point. Um, we have a lot of clouds, a lot of thunder going on. We had hail midday. We ended up glassing up. At that, I said, you know what? I'm going to build another blind kind of above you. There's another blind like a quarter mile above him, another wallow. I'm going to build a blind up there because I'm pretty smoked at this point too, and these elk are coming in. Let's see if we can find them again. So me and Cade get up there, and we're sitting above Joey that night. We end up glassing up a lion, a bear, and then two herds of elk. And we're texting Joey, they're coming in. Ended up glassing up that same raghorn, so the raghorn was totally fine. He was just trying to get it on these elk before anyone else got on him, before the big bulls got on him. Glass him up with the elk. We tell Joey, hey, they're coming in again. You got to get them this time. But they held up in the timber, and they probably came in like right after dark. Like my experience with wallows and drinkers, I've killed them off of a drinker before, and it's like the last 15 minutes, like no earlier than that. Like it looks like if you look at my sunrise behind me, like sunset behind me, it's like dusk. Like you can barely see. You barely see your pins. They're gonna come in. That's all you get to kill them. Um, doesn't doesn't come in. So that's it. The elk doesn't come in. We did see that lion, which is kind of cool. We ended up glassing up 3 lions on that trip, which is kind of crazy. Colorado's going to ban lion hunting. We glassed up 3 lions. So no bull. We did see it, which makes you feel a lot better, right? It's makes you feel a lot better. You didn't wound an animal, didn't hurt it, but he didn't come into Joey again. He didn't give Joey a second chance. We're getting close to the end here. Let's do the last day. So the last day at this point, Joey's kind of over it. I'm pretty tired. I'm smoked. We end up at this point within like 50 miles. But it's 50 miles of like gnarly miles with heavy packs, and you're pretty smoked. Joey's really smoked. I think Joey's biggest takeaway from this hunt would be like your physical fitness is more important than anything else than your gear on over this kind of stuff. He did really good with like the camping and stuff. Like, it was his first time. This is Joey's first big hunt, his first time backpacking. So like you got to give him credit. Like I kind of threw him to the wolves. Like you're going hunting with me. Like you're going to go on a hardcore hunt. Like it's what I like to do is backpack hunt. I have a backpack hunting company. But he definitely the physical fitness definitely got him. I mean, he says next year he used to be like a CrossFit guy. Like he used to do like those competitions, everything, like all this douchey stuff, like I don't know, they do flip tires and stuff. So he's gonna get back into that, I think. So next year he says he's gonna kick my ass, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm getting older. He might get me. Next morning, get up. I move into that. What is that like the wall I was in above Joey's? I can still glass everything. We're seeing a lot of elk on those hills. I end up glassing up a 6x7, probably 320, 330 bull. Big bull, biggest bull of the trip. He's up on a ridge line about a mile away. And I'm like, that bull, if he drops over towards us, we're going to kill him. Like, or at least get a chance to kill him. So we're just watching him because, like, one thing I've learned, like, especially with any animal, but especially the elk, like, when they're on their feet moving, like, good luck. Like, unless you're, like, at a pinch point where they're moving towards you, like, trying to catch an elk on their feet is, like, impossible. Like, they're going to move far in the morning. They're moving back to where they're going to bed. This bull's up on this ridge, and he gets bugled at by, again, there's hunters in here. There's, at all times there's probably 6 guys in this area we're hunting within this 4 square miles or whatever. He gets bugled at, and we were told, like, don't bugle, don't call. They're smart. These the old ones are. And that bull, we watched him look at the bugler, and then stop, freeze, and walk over the other side, and out of our lives. And I did not want to go run over. Like, at this point, he's a mile away. Who knows where he's going on the other side? These are big mountains. We're not going to find him on that side. If he came towards us, then I'd be like, okay, we can kill him. But where he went, we weren't going to find him. And it was a good 6 or 7 bull, biggest bull of the trip for sure, bigger than the one that I had a chance at and didn't kill. I did glass a black bear up that morning, feeding right towards us. Didn't have a tag. I mean, it would have been very killable. It would have been fun to have a tag because he was like coming down. A lot of bear sign in there. It's cool to see him. We were going to do one more night down there in the bottom. Again, Joey's over at this point. And then thunder, sleet, rain comes in at like 2 o'clock. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just hike out because we were gonna hike out that night at night. And I was like, dude, if this storm keeps up, like, I definitely don't want to be, could be hot, but it could be really cold. You can definitely go hypothermic up there. And I have all the gear, but it's like the last thing I want to do is put on a bunch of rain gear and hike 3 miles out of this canyon while it's raining and sleeting on us. So we end up hiking out in the rain, in the sleet. The hunt's over. We finally get out of that thing, get up there, roll the canvas cutters up, load everything, pack everything up. Kate's truck won't start because apparently maintenance is not important to 23-year-olds, Kate. And so I end up towing Kate out. I'm like, it won't. He keeps trying to jump over the river box, but it's like it's, and I know that sound. I'm like, oh, your fuel pump's bad. So I end up YouTubing. I'm towing him out. I end up towing him like 40 miles out of this thing. Always have tow rope in your car. Like 100%, you need a tow rope and shackles. Tow rope, shackles, jack, shovel, gas cans, water. Those are the things. Like, if you have that stuff, you can pretty much get out of most things. Tow him out, and I'm YouTubing how to find it. Figure out where the fuel pump is. Take his seat out. We actually cut his carpet. You can actually cut the carpet out, and like under his seat is the fuel pump. And I just smack it with like vice grips a bunch, and his car starts. So I don't know if he fixed it or not. I told him to fix it when he got home. I hope he did before we go to Mexico, before our next night in November we go hunting here in Colorado again. We got it running. It was good. But man, that's it, man. I think we did 8 full days of hunting. It was cool. If I takeaways from the hunt, if I could do it again, I would go later. Did you hear my kid in the background? My door's locked and he's trying to get in. My 5-year-old. Apparently the locked door means bang louder and yell louder. So if I could do it again, I would go back on the 10th. The day I came home, I think I got home on the 11th. If I could do it again, I would go back on the day I came home. And I think we could get it done. I think they were getting close to rutting and out of the time to go. I definitely wouldn't want to go during the muzzleloader season, which I think was the weekend after. So I might try and like next year do it like whatever that is, like the 8th through the 18th or whatever the muzzleloader starts, like up until that day. I'd want to hunt it. Because you get a bunch of muzzleloaders in there and just chaos, right? That's my takeaway from that. I'd definitely go back later. I wouldn't change a thing, man. It was fun. Time of my life. Got the coolest job in the world, man. I didn't get it done. 7% success rate. You know, going into an over-the-counter elk hunt in Colorado is going to be tough. You know the elk are going to be call shy. You know that you're going to have to go places people don't want to go. And we did everything right, man. Joey missed. The wind swirled. I didn't get hit in my bull. Like, it's just like things are going to happen, man. Like, things have to go right when you archery hunt. Like, there's a lot of factors in there, and this one, if that wind would have stayed, like, it was so perfect for that 5 minutes I was sitting there on that ridge, and it just didn't happen. The wind swirled and we lost him. We actually we're gonna title this film. We're gonna put the whole film together. We're gonna call it False Summit. I told him we need to call it False Summit because like this hunt was filled with so many false hopes. Like for one, every freaking hill you went up, it was a false summit, and you had to keep going. And that's like so much of this hunt. Like we got close to bulls and it wouldn't happen, or we got close to elk. There's more stories. There's other elk we were chasing and didn't happen. And Joey thought he had an elk, but he actually missed. Or we're just gonna call it false summit, and that's so much of what hunting is, right? So much of hunting is just false summits and being willing to keep hiking. Because if you continue to hike, at some point you're gonna get to the top of that summit. You're gonna get it done. But man, that's it. That's my 2024 Colorado over-the-counter elk experience. I hope if you listen to this whole thing that you enjoyed my story. If you like it, DM me or text me or email me. Let me know that you like these individual pods. A little different for me. Talking the whole time, but yeah, man, stay after it. Wyoming in the morning, we kill some antelope. Let's do it. Hunting season.